What's going on, everyone? It's me, Chris Hernandez, and we're back with another episode of Should Your Kids Play? And today, we're talking about Outward. Sticking on the theme of Sandboxious games, this week we're talking about, obviously, Outward, which is an open-world fantasy role-playing game. I've actually really wanted to try this game out for a while, so naturally, I was really excited to get into this game and start doing this review. My first impression of the game is that it would be similar to games like Rust, however, it was not. That was my impression going into the game, thinking that it was going to be this kind of open world, player versus player, fantasy based type of game, but it's actually very different. Outward is a legit, authentic fantasy RPG game where you essentially build your character from the ground up and you embark on this crazy adventure through this brand new world. But with that being said, there are survival aspects to the game, so you have to eat to stay alive as well as rest. Now, if that's been said, this game is definitely not for beginners. The game kind of throws you into this weird scenario with no real backstory, and there was no tutorial on my end. Maybe I skipped this somehow, but I felt like I was personally thrown straight to the wolves and had to figure out everything from combat to cooking and crafting my own stuff, all of that stuff. The game starts out with this weird kind of, I forget what it's called, but like blood oath thingy, and apparently owe a lot of money to the town. The NPCs let you know that you only have 5 days to pay up the money, even though you just came back from this huge tragic accident, and they tell you a few ways that you can pay off this blood oath thing. One is gathering the actual money itself, and two is by doing a huge favor or quest for one of the townspeople. But after this dialogue, you're not really given any direction in terms of where you should go. So for me at least, the route of finding a quest from a townsperson to essentially get rid of my debt to the town, I couldn't go on that path because I had no clue where to go. And I totally went into this game blind with no previous reviews, with no looking at gameplay. I just jumped straight in. And another issue was the realization that the map doesn't seem to show where you are in relation to your surroundings. It doesn't track you at all. So this is a game where you really need to be efficient at map reading. And the reason I say that is because you need to remember what path you're going down, where you're going to in order to get there. Lastly, the graphics are also very dated, but personally, I'm not too bothered by this one. Honestly, thank goodness I've been playing fantasy RPG games for years, which really helped me to adapt to the game's controls and find my bearings quickly. But with all that being said, some gamers really appreciate the lack of hand-holding, but of course that's going to be your expert RPG game players. Now, what replay value is there here? There's a lot to do in Outward as you progress throughout the game. You can follow the storyline, jump into dungeons, fight monsters and bandits on the road. When I say there's a lot to do, there is a lot to do in this game. The game is pulled at having over 34 to 50 hours of gameplay, but with the DLC and the fact that not all players are players who rush through the game, I can say with confidence that there's definitely upwards of 80 plus hours in this game. So it's definitely worth its price tag. So, is there a social component to this game? There is a social component to this game. You are able to join other players' games as well as play two-player couch multiplayer. So if you love fantasy RPG games and you want your kid to love them too, then this is the game for you. But if you do not like your kid playing online with other random people, then maybe this isn't the game, or maybe you have a talk with them. So, what about the cost? Outward is available on PC, PS4, and Xbox, and you can grab a copy of it for $39.99 on all platforms. There are also 2 DLCs available for Outward. One is $14.99 and the other is $19.99. Those are optional, but you're probably going to want to buy them to expand the gameplay and explore new stuff. So, what's my final rating? What's the approval? I'm gonna say this game is 14 plus. If I neglect the online social component for a second, this game's mechanics and how you start off in the world are really rough, and you have to stick with it and progress through the story to get to the good content. However, this is definitely a game my parents would have bought me at around 8 or 9 years old. So at the end of the day, it really depends on who your kid is and what you're willing to allow them to play. So that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like, drop into the comments, let me know what you think about Outward, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time.